Boys, today we are back, and in today's video I was gonna go over my lock, fight of the night, performance of the night, predictions, but before I do that, I'm still gonna do that, that's just gonna be later in the video, but before I do that, I want to go over this tweet that just came out. It is fight day. I'm doing these predictions fight day. As you can see at 10:52 a.m., UFC is officially increasing its bonuses. Dana did an interview or told, an article this morning about bonuses. Ariel tweeted about it. So UFC is officially increasing the bonuses. The bonuses are increasing from 50K to 100K, which is, double, which is pretty cool. So, that's going up from 200K a night to 400K a night with 2 performance winners, 2 fight of the night. They sometimes don't do 2 performance winners and 2 fight of the nights, but maybe there's only 1 performance winner or 1 fight of the night or some shit like that. But bonuses are going up, and then this is the big part. We knew that was probably going to happen with Paramount because the 7.7 billion. We figured that was going to happen, but this is huge right here. In addition, anyone who doesn't win the fight of the night or the performance of the night, whoever doesn't win that bonus, but TKOs or subs, whoever finishes their opponent that doesn't win fight of the night will earn 25K. That's huge. That's giving an incentive for fighters to go after finishes, and not hold people against the cage and smudge them and be boring as fuck, at range. And this is great. In my opinion, if it was like 50K for this, it would be even better. But I know that's maybe out of budget. I'm not sure. I mean, probably not out of budget, but UFC is cheap as hell, so obviously it's only 25K, but this is huge. This is incentivizing fighters to actually go for finishes, and not be boring and actually go after it in the middle of the fight. I love this. I think this is amazing. Anyone who doesn't win the performance or the fight of the night will get $25,000 more dollars onto their purse if they get a finish, TKO or sub. This is absolutely amazing. I love this idea from the UFC. I wish it was more money, but this is still great. It's going to incentivize the fighters to actually go for it, lock in, go for finishes, not smudge, people up against the cage. So this is awesome. I just wanted to go over this real quick before we get into the rest of the video. And let's get into the actual video. All right, we're back. I just wanted to go over that really quick, but now we are going to get into my predictions for tonight. It is fight day, and I'm not predicting the fights. I already predicted the fights earlier in the week, how I think, who will win every fight, but these are just like some fun predictions, who I think will, win performance of the night, fight of the night, I have, lock of the night, you'll see, and then I have a fun one at the end, which, I think will be, cool moving forward. I haven't seen anyone do this, so let's get it started. The first, I have 5 of these, so the first prediction I'm going to talk about is lock of the card, and this is probably no surprise to anyone. Atiba Gauthier is going to absolutely slime out Puliayev in the first round. We saw at the ceremonial weigh-ins yesterday, Puliayev is bigger than Gauthier, like taller. Obviously not like as built, but he is taller than Gauthier, which I didn't expect that. I kind of, don't remember any of Puliayev's fights, so I didn't really expect that, but Gauthier is shorter than him, which is, that doesn't really mean anything. I still think Gauthier is going to get him out of there in like 2.5 minutes by, KO. So this is my lock of the card. I think this is everyone's lock of the card. I did think about maybe putting Umar over Davison, but I feel like this discrepancy, like this fighter discrepancy is bigger. Like Gauthier is way better than Puliayev. Like it's way more of a gap than what Umar and Davison is. But don't get me wrong, Umar is like way better than Davison. So that's obviously, Umar's probably going to win that. Davison did miss weight. I don't know if he did that, for real or on purpose to get a little bit of a weight advantage, but who knows? But yeah, lock of the card, Gauthier over Puliayev. I think everyone's going with this. So, and if Puliayev wins, that's going to be absolutely insane. But I think Gauthier slimes him in like 2 minutes. So moving on. Yes, my fight of the night prediction is going to be the main event, Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think Paddy's going to get tagged by some big right-hand shots at Gaethje. I think he will test Paddy's chin. Who knows if Paddy can take it? He took a decent shot off Michael Chandler, but that's it. And I think Gaethje hits harder than Chandler. So, and Gaethje does swing, but Gaethje has better straighter punches too than Chandler. So I think this is going to be fight of the night. I think it won't go the distance. I think it may be like end in the 3rd or 4th round. That was my prediction, that Paddy will beat Justin by submission in the later rounds. So I do still think that stands, but I think it's going to be a good fight. I think Justin will land on Patty. Patty maybe eat it, maybe get dropped and come back. Who knows? But I think it'll be a little bit back and forth. But once Patty, figures out the grappling, I think he'll be taking Justin Gaethje down, and I think he will sub Justin Gaethje in the later rounds. And let's pray, because nobody wants Justin Gaethje as lightweight champion. We want him gone. We want him retired. So yeah. Patty versus Gaethje, I think, will be my fight of the night. Another honorary mention. Maybe Sugar versus Song, but I think that's going to go to a split. I picked Sugar Sean O'Malley by a 29-28 split decision, so I think that fight might be a little bit boring because O'Malley's, I'm going to get heat. If anybody watches this might be a little controversial, but the last few fights, O'Malley's been a little hesitant on the feet. He's not been as exciting as he was, so I know he's going against a grappler, but Song can't grapple, so maybe that might be fight of the night too, but I think this will be fight of the night. Patty Gaethje, I think it'll be back and forth, but once Patty figures out the grappling, I think he might take over from there, but anyway, let's move on. Performance of the night prediction. I have Gene Silva over Arnold Allen for my performance of the night. I don't think this lasts. I don't think this goes into the second round. This is a 1-round fight. I think Arnold Allen will put up a good fight, but Gene Silva hands are too heavy. Arnold always gets hurt. He gets tagged. He does have a good chin, but if Dan Hooker can crack you a few years ago, Gene Silva is going to crack you later in your career. He's coming off like almost a 2-year layoff. Arnold Allen is, so. Or like a year and a half, but he's coming off a long layoff. Gene Silva was just in there. Gene Silva's hungry as hell. He's crazy and wild, so I think Gene Silva's going to really badly TKO Arnold Allen, maybe flatline in the first round. Performance of the night. Arnold will be doing good, but I think Gene just volume and absolute, and it's going to be a beatdown. Arnold's going to be bloody. That's my prediction. So I think performance of the night will go to Gene Silva. He'll get a huge win over Arnold Allen in the first round and shoot up the featherweight rankings. So yeah, performance of the night. I do think Gene Silva will get that victory over Arnold Allen, get performance of the night. I could also see if Patty wins, he'll get performance of the night. If Justin finishes Patty, he can get performance of the night. If Sugar puts on a good performance and gets a KO, if Song finishes Sugar, that could get performance of the night. Derek or Waldo, potentially, how long it lasts, could get performance of the night. I don't see the women's fight getting it. Umar, probably not. He'll probably just grapple. Gautier could get performance of the night, even though he's going against a can. But I think it'll be a higher level matchup that gets performance of the night. And I think Gene Silva, when he slimes out Arnold, which sucks because Arnold is a good guy, but I think Gene Silva is going to slime Arnold out and get performance of the night. Moving on. Underdog of the card, Michael Johnson over Alexander Hernandez. I predicted this in my predictions, and this is going to happen. I saw something on Twitter about a lot of people started betting on Johnson, like towards the end of the week, and we're getting like a fucking Isaac Delgarian betting fucking scandal again with Hernandez. And then I saw a tweet that Hernandez is injured but fighting through it from like a shitty, like a Ruben Carter type account, which, I mean, that's probably not true, but he's probably just trying to clickbait. But it is true that a lot of money was put on Johnson in this fight. Like towards the end of the week, the line moved a lot. So this could be risky business here. This could be a fucking Isaac Delgarian situation. Who knows? But before all that happened, I did predict Johnson to beat Hernandez before all the betting shit happened. So I think Johnson does either a decision or a late finish over Hernandez. I think Hernandez is overrated as fuck. He's on like a mid fucking fight win. He's on a 3-fight win streak, but it's all against mid guys like Chase Hooper. I mean, no one's rating that. So I think Michael Johnson, he just had a good performance against a better guy in Zell Huber. I think Zell Huber's better than Chase Hooper and like a bunch of guys that Hernandez is on this win streak against. So I think I think Johnson, no editing. I think Michael Johnson, the Unk, will get, what did I predict? Did I pick TKO, late TKO, or decision? I forget, but anyway, I think Johnson will win against Hernandez, despite all this. And if Johnson goes out there and wins and Hernandez looks sus, Hernandez is getting cut for this betting shit. So that could be something to watch in this fight. But let's move on to the last topic I'm going to talk about. The last prediction. It's going to be a fun one. Worst fight of the night prediction. Now, I do have an honorable mention on the screen. My girlfriend, Natalia Silva, is fighting Rose. That's probably going to be the most boring fight of the night. I almost put it here, but it's not fair. I was thinking in my head, it's not fair to put the women's fight as the worst fight of the night because obviously the women's fights are worse than the male fight. Like, I'd rather have a Ty Miller versus Adam Fugit fight over a women's fight, but you know what I mean? Like, I can't put the women's fight as worst fight of the night because everyone knows it's going to be the worst fight of the night, probably. Unless my girlfriend goes in there and slams her out and then we celebrate hard after. But I couldn't do the women's fight as the worst fight. I still put it on there because, I mean, obviously the women's fights, no offense, are, less entertaining than the men's fights. But For the men's fights, the worst fight of the night prediction is going to be the card opener, Adam Fugit, whatever the fuck his name is, versus Ty Miller. This fight is gonna suck. I didn't go back and watch Ty Miller predict highlights. I forget the guy's performance on Contender Series. I pretty much know nothing about this guy, but this fight is gonna suck. Unless Ty Miller's some prospect that I'm forgetting and he's like actually good as fuck, but I don't think he is. He's fighting on the first. If he was a high guy like Susakayev or like someone like known coming off the Contender, he would have been higher up on the card, not the first fight. So yeah, this is going to be the worst fight of the night. If Waldo and Derek Lewis just stare at each other for 3 rounds, that could be, but I think that's going to end in the first 2 exchanges. So my worst fight of the night is Ty Miller versus Adam Fugit. It's low level. Miller's not a guy anyone will know if they're. I mean, I'm not a casual, but I don't know Miller, so what does that say about me? I don't know, but this fight's going to suck. Fugit's not good at fighting. He's awful. No offense. Yeah, he's just low level. Ty Miller coming off the Contender. It's going to be the worst fight of the night. Thankfully, it's first, so we don't have to, expect, a good fight later on in the card. And yeah, I think the rest of the fights are going to be pretty decent. Charles Johnson versus Alex Perez might be a little but Johnson does put pressure on and volume, so that could be good. That probably will be a good fight, but all the rest I think are going to be, decent fights. Bukauskas versus Krylov should be a banger. And yeah, so this is my worst fight of the night prediction. Obviously, the women's fight is probably going to be worse unless Natalia Silva, knocks Rosa, or Rose has, a resurgence and, gets a KO like she used to. So, but the women's fight obviously is probably going to be, no offense, but you know what I mean. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. The bonus is increasing. That's crazy. The finish incentive, that's amazing. That's actually so good from the UFC. I wish it was more than 25K, but that's going to incentivize fighters to actually go for it. So I'm hype about that. I'm hype about the card tonight. I will be doing a card recap tomorrow. It's finally back. Go Patty. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Catch you in the next video tomorrow. Peace.